so we will introduce Carla if she can get logged in here. Make sure your audio and volume are good to go. Hey, Carla.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you being on.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. I know it says here that you, like me, you had no real estate investing experience. So how did you find lifestyles? And tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Okay, yes, I am a teacher who's not teaching because I kind of felt like I had to forfeit my career for my husband to serve our country. He is in the U.S. Air Force and he's taken us all over the world. It's been wonderful, but finding a job and maintaining a career has been near impossible. So therefore, I have no retirement. So 20 years ago, we were here in good old San Antonio, and we met Trish and Chris Matson, and she's watching. Hey, Trish. And anyway, so we kept up with each other over the years, and about 5 years ago, we moved to military moved us to England. So we were over in England, and somewhere in there, Trish and Chris joined Lifestyles, and they started their journey on success. And I watched them and kept in touch with her, and I kept saying, okay, now what is this you're doing? Tell me more about it. And so she'd talk to me about it, and she'd give me some tell me to listen to the radio podcast, and so I started researching it more and just talking to her about it, thinking about it while we're over in England, because I felt like I couldn't do anything until we got back stateside, which I know some people can do it over there, but I need to be here to do it. It's the way I operate. But anyway, yeah, so as soon as we got here, I talked to my husband about it and told him that this, I knew this was the answer to recover that ground that we lost from me not having retirement because of pretty much forfeiting my career for him to serve our country. So and that's how I found out about it, and I've just been really excited. I kind of felt like it was a sign from God that he put us here. It was an answer to prayer that we came to San Antonio. We didn't go to Virginia Beach like we thought we were going. We didn't go to North Carolina where we thought we might go. We came here. So I'm really excited to be on this journey, and I love all the support and encouragement I've received along the way.
Well, awesome. Well, that's great. I'm so glad. And I do remember Trish as well. I was in the member services department when she joined, and she, just like you, was very focused. She followed the instructions. And I know, I mean, we don't have to talk about all her deals, but I know she's doing multifamily now, and she's living in Georgia. And I see her post on Facebook, and I've seen her speak at the expo. She has come a long way, and she inspires me as well. So thank you, Trish, for being an inspiration for all of us women and being a strong leader. And it's just awesome what you have done. And so that's great. So you had a friend who could vouch for this program, that this is real, this is not a scam, right? And so that's very helpful. It gives you confidence to know that when you join the program, they're not just going to take your money and say, okay, bye. Right? We're here, we're going to help you. We're going to show you to the education and really help you every step of the way. So great. Okay, so you joined, David, if you can click on to the next slide, that would be nice. So you joined, I wanted to point this out because this is really important. You joined April of around 2020, right? Is that right, when you joined the challenge program? Okay, so if you guys know, this whole pandemic started in about March. So when I saw that she joined in April, I thought, wow, that's really, I guess a lack of a better term, it's pretty ballsy, right? Because you turn on the news and everything is like, the world's ending, real estate's crashing, the stock market's crashing, there's no jobs, craziness on TV. And that's very similar to when I joined. I joined in 2009 when Obama became president, and everyone also said the world is ending, the economy is crashing, don't buy real estate, don't buy real estate. And so I really give you credit for that, because when most people were fearful, you weren't. You saw that other people have been successful, you saw what we were doing, and you followed that map. And so that is awesome that you overcame that fear that most people have. So great. So yep, your military spouse, like you told us, so you guys move around a lot. So were you pretty familiar with San Antonio already, or you had been gone for so long, it changed a lot?
We were only here back in 99, 2000 for 1 year, and that was it. And I was pregnant most of that year. So yes, no, we didn't know anything. And then to top it off, it changed so much. It's unbelievable how much it changed.
Right. So
So
I think that's important for everybody watching to know, as I grew up in San Antonio and I know it like the back of my hand, but a lot of members don't. You might be living in California. Don't worry, we'll still help you if you're from California. You might live in Florida, you might live in Virginia, or maybe you just moved to Texas and you know nothing about Texas. This should give you confidence that Carla was not an expert about San Antonio. She couldn't tell you, hey, where's the best place to invest or where should I avoid? That's something that Lifestyles helps you discover as you are looking at properties, and we're going to help you understand your market much better. So absolutely great. So let's jump into it. So you joined in April. When did this property come across your trajectory?
it was shortly after that. I didn't know you were going to ask me for the date, so I don't remember, but it was shortly after that, maybe a month, the next month, maybe
Okay,
in May.
so
It was
that's
pretty cool.
pretty fast. So you took the 2-day, you did some of your education. I know we talked a little bit and you got into this one. So this one, if you are a Lifestyles member, you've been to the 2-day, or if you haven't been to the 2-day, you're gonna learn a little bit about what David and Lifestyles coined as a bread and butter deal. David will get more into that, the 2-day seminar, but that's what this property is what we call a bread and butter deal. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1812 square feet. Built in 2012. That is amazing. Not a lot of repair issues, I believe. So this is also, if you look on the map, it is south. I'm not sure if that little dot's on the right place, but it's out near the Lackland 1604 410 area.
Yeah, the
Uh,
dot's not on the right place. It's a little closer to Lackland Air Force Base, closer to 90.
Lackland is a military Air Force base here in San Antonio. We do have quite a few different military bases, but that side of town is very popular amongst renters, amongst buyers. So just a wonderful area to purchase. But let's look at the numbers. So tell us a little bit about the before condition when you came to look at it with your realtor and when you guys walked the property. This is what you saw, right? Furniture and trash in the garage.
Yes, it was fully furnished. It had some interesting colors on the walls. The light fixtures, even though it was built in 2012, the light fixtures were quite dated, which I found interesting. But overall, it was in really good condition, just a few little minor blemishes that needed fixing here and there. But it was the perfect starter first house for me to get my feet wet. Perfect for that. So
You were kind of handling this on your own, right? Hubby's busy at working, kiddos are dealing with distance learning in school. So this is kind of you took the reign on this for your family. And so you didn't want to take on a big rehab. Now, some members do. And if members are comfortable doing that, we will help them. But you kind of were like, let me start with a small rehab. So if you look at, we're going to go through these numbers, but if you look at the rehab section, your rehab was just over $5,000. So that's great for a first time deal. If you're a little scared, you just want to tip your toes in the water, you're not ready to jump into a huge rehab, there are deals out there that are minimal rehab to get you prepared and you work your way up. We don't want you to be scared or fearful of taking on a big rehab if you're not quite ready yet. So let me go through these numbers. Okay, appraised value, 200,000. Purchase price was 150,000, so that leaves you 50K of equity, which about a little bit over 5,000 went to rehab. I calculated about 18,000 in closing costs. Remember, you have two closings. You have a hard money close, you have a conventional close, and you did opt for hard money on this one so that you can finance that rehab. Typically, we run the numbers both with a hard money financing or a conventional to see which one is going to give us a better return on our money. So you were left with a net equity after all the closing costs and rehab and all that, right over 26,000, which is amazing. And so your total cash out of pocket is $14,862. So that's the total amount she had to bring to the table out of her own cash, which is wonderful. You know, most of us can come up with 15 grand to buy an investment property. And remember, she has 26,000 in equity today, but as David mentioned, San Antonio is appreciating at about 5 to 6% per year, which I feel, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think that's going to increase with the demand of real estate in our market. So that gave you a return on capital of 177%, and that's not a typo. David checked my math. Now tell us about, you rented out the property for $1,565. Yes. Which is wonderful. It's a little bit higher than we first expected, right? Yes. And that for a year that goes to 18,000. But I talked about cash flow in the beginning. Cash flow really is what's important because that's what you put in your pocket every single month. That's what helps you pay your phone bill, your car note, or if you're conservative, you save your cash flow so you can buy more property down the line. So this one puts just under 4,000 per year in your pocket. And I listen to Del Walmsley quite a bit because he was my first mentor, and he always talks about, yes, you're taking in, you know, 3720, but you're not having to pay earned income taxes like if this was a W-2 job. So always keep that in mind, guys. You know, this number is great, but it's actually better than it really is because of the tax benefits. And he will get into that at the 2-day. I don't want to, you know, steal his thunder. But cash on cash return. So if you've got money in the stock market, or if you're in bonds, or you've got a CD at the bank, or something like that, you might be getting 1, 2, maybe 3% if it's a good day. You're getting 25% cash on cash return, and this is just your first year. Remember, we're going to raise rents every year, and the appreciation goes up every year, and the tenant is paying down the mortgage. So all of this is wonderful, and these numbers are great.
Carla.
Yeah.
Carla.
Yes.
You know what it's called, the technical term, if you make over 100% return?
I know, and I felt that way driving home when I walked this property. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
yes.
There you go. Got it. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome because, you know, you buy a stock and it goes up 10%. You're like, wow, that's so much better than my 3%. But when you double your money, and you did more than double, I mean, it's awesome, especially on your first deal. Because I remember how nervous you were, even though during COVID we met at a picnic we weren't supposed to. But you know what happens, right? Yeah. But you know, it's just cool encouraging people and seeing them all grow together. I love that. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah. Pretty good. So yeah, folks. Oh wait, we gotta see who's on our team, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Can I say one interesting
shout outs or whatever? Let's hear it, Carla. Go for it.
My one oddity about this house that blew me away is when I say that it was fully furnished, I mean that it was fully furnished when I bought it.
You inherited all that crap, right?
And it wasn't crap.
Oh, okay. Did he sell it or what?
Decent stuff in there. Yes, it was fully furnished. And so, yes, there were, Jody, you'll appreciate this. I don't know that I shared this with you. There were 4 Coach bags in the garage.
Wow.
Oh, bonus.
Yeah, it was crazy. There were bags of clothes that still had price tags on them in the garage. There was some trash too. There was plenty of like oddness, weirdness. It was interesting. Yes.
Yeah. There wasn't like a fire pole in the middle of the living room or anything, was there?
No.
That's what. Okay, just ask.
Well, that's awesome. I know this property was owned by another investor, and it was what they call it Airbnb, if you guys are familiar with that. And remember, she bought it in April. What happened in March? The pandemic hit in March, so everyone in the right, the vacation industry tanked. So anybody who had short-term rentals was struggling. Those of us that have long-term rentals were doing great because people need a roof over their head, and we have a city full of essential workers. So most
Yep.
of us wonderfully, while the people with the short-term and student housing struggled. And so she was able to help these people by purchasing this property and take this headache off of their hands. They didn't even have time or interest to get all these valuable things out. Did you end up selling all that stuff, or what did you end up doing, Carla?
You know, I sold a lot of it. Some of it I just gave away. There were actually, it was nice. I was able to bless some families. There were several families that came over. They bought some of the stuff, and I said, you know what? You go out in that garage and you take anything you want. Please just take it. And they're like, oh, and they tried so hard to pay me for it. I'm like, no, no, you take it. There was a mother. She was a single mother. She had 4 teenagers. I'm like, just take it. There was another lady
Wouldn't
that
that feel
came.
good though to do that? That's awesome. You bless someone. That's awesome.
It was,
Wonderful.
it was another lady that was
You
newly
wouldn't want to
divorced.
do that 'cause she wants nice things, but you know, that's good that Carla did.
I know, I probably would have kept some of that stuff. Ugh. Good job. Well, that's awesome.
So Carla, do you want to thank anybody?
Yes, you know, Jody is amazing. I have just, there were times that I talked to her every day. She never acted like, you know, I kept thinking she's going to cringe, but she didn't. Every day she was like excited to talk to me. I was like, this is amazing. The information, and I knew that I needed someone to kind of hold my hand through this to get me through the first one and the second and third one and whatever. I knew I needed it. And she was amazing. That was amazing. Bryce over at Red Door, I love him. He is so nice. Casey, I really appreciate him helping me find a house. He kept calling the house the unicorn because it didn't need much work, and he was right. It's my first little unicorn. Hopefully, I find some more through the Lifestyles real estate team.
There you go.
Actually, I did just close on my second property.
Yay!
So
That was last week, right?
yes. So yes, it's not a small rehab, so it's going to be a journey. But I think with Jody's help, I'm ready for it. But
Awesome.
yeah, it was great. Yes.
Well, great.
All
And we
right.
asked, wonderful. We're so excited for deal number 2, and that's really fast how you did that. And I have to say, you are very coachable. You listen, you follow the instructions, and that really helps, guys, when you're not the type of person who thinks you know everything, that you take new information and you educate yourself and you listen to your mentor and your realtors and your inspectors, and you gather all this information, and that has a lot to do with this as well. So great job on that. And so what is your next goals? You said you wanted to buy and rent one more. Well, now you've already done that, right? So we can
I bought the second one that we have to get the rehab done, but then get it rented out. And then my husband and I both are kind of talking about where should we go next. We want to jump into the multifamily side, but we're kind of thinking, should we do that next year or should maybe wait another year? We're going to see where everything lands and need to let the first few grow. Maybe we'll buy a third house instead. Let them grow, and then we can jump into multi. But we definitely like the sounds of the multi-family, and maybe having both of them kind of going.
Awesome. So you ready for some questions?
Yes, bring them on.
Okay, Danielle, give us about 3 questions because we're running a little behind. So let's give about 3.
I only have one at the moment.
Well, that makes it easier.
So Anthony asked, he said, what is your business plan for York Crest property? How long do you plan to hold it? Do you plan to sell it or refinance it?
Okay, yes. So when you go to the 2-day, you will hear David talk about how you can either hold it for a year and a day, up to 3 years, and then sell it, or you can cash out, refi it. So because it's such a new property and it's in a highly sought out rental area. Right now, my guess is we're going to cash out refi it when the time looks good and hang on to it. But Jody will help me decide that when we get further down the road, closer to that. But that's my guess right now, to cash out refi, take that money, throw it into multi.
There you go. Great call. Anybody else, Danielle?
Did acquire a couple new questions, but I did want to say he wanted to say thank you for your family service and that he is armed. So.
Oh, you.
The next question I have is from Jim, and he said, so the rehab 23,000 on 8-year-old home. That slide was a little unclear. David, can we go back to the slide that had the numbers maybe?
The rehab was 5,500 and some change. Rehab is 5,587.
Yeah, the 18,000, just so that he's adding the two together. The rehab was not 18,000. That is the closing cost for the two loans, okay? And I'll teach that in the seminar. And that's what allowed it to be so low out of pocket by doing it that way. So it was tied into the loan. But the point is the 5,000 was the rehab. It was not a big rehab.
Right.
Okay?
So that 18 was a hard money close plus the conventional. It was both. So we totaled it up because we want to give you the real numbers, right? So that's the total closing cost of both.
That's why I teach in the weekend, so you understand that.
Yeah.
And let's see, the last question that I have is from Hanny, and it said, is the closing cost only hard money or is it combined? So we already addressed that. It is both.
Oh,
Yeah.
and John,
So guys, just so you know what, it's like 3 points in there. It's the holding costs. That's all tied in there. The appraisals, the surveys, that's why it's so much for that. So, and I'll break that down this weekend.
it's the cost of doing business, so you don't have to buy with your own cash.
Yep.
Yes.
I actually had a statement from John Pry, and he said both single family and multifamily are great businesses. Both are easy to handle as long as you follow the map. So
There you go. And John Pry is one of our happiest members from the Dallas office because he retired in 2 years and he's a petroleum engineer and he's an Aggie, so he's slower than the rest of us, but even he can do it. So thank you so much, Jody and Carla. You're both inspirational. Appreciate you both giving back and hopefully inspired the next generation. First deal, did a great job, Carla. Stick to the map. You're doing great. Take care, Jody.